I've been in the Pan-African community for about 10 years, even before I was really on YouTube. I was living in Poland and I was working with a lot of Africans in my city when I was in medical school. And so I was participating in Africa Day, Nigerian independence, and just things like that, even in 2017, 2016. And what I've noticed is in the Pan-African community, you clearly always have people talking about going back to Africa, but they don't live nowhere in Africa. That's one thing. And then that builds on to another part of my argument. People who do one thing or say one thing and do another while they're hella irresponsible. And nobody is more irresponsible out here than Akon.
I know I'm late to this, but did y'all hear about Akon getting arrested for having a suspended license? Yeah, he was like 6 hours in a holding tank. This whole time, I'm thinking he's living in Senegal in his futuristic city. And you know where he's living at? ATL. Atlanta, Georgia. How much he be talking about? Oh, invest in Africa. Africa is the future. How come you not living in the future then? If Africa is the future, how come you not living in the future, right? And you driving a Tesla truck. Then Africans create some kind of EV vehicle, electric vehicle, and you go support Elon Musk. And you talking all this gibberish about, yeah, invest in Africa. It's the future, my brother. Invest in Africa. This whole time you driving Elon Musk truck. This whole time you living in ATL. Where you at? Why you not in Senegal? Why you not living in the future?
Shout out to Donnie on Time Out because he's mentioning something about Akon that we must clear up. Akon got arrested for having a suspended license, doing all this stuff, talking about going back to Africa, investing in Africa, getting divorced, by his ex-wife, not wanting to pay any kind of spousal support. But then again, his projects are supposed to be in Africa, right? But what do we see about his project?
This was all I saw. This right here is the only building that has been built in Akon City. Although this building looks futuristic, but this project is looking like a disappointment. An interview with Akon, he blamed the pandemic, saying everything was pushed back by 2 years.
And of course, like an African grifter, they got all kind of excuses why it don't come to pass. It's COVID. It's the white man. It's the government. Shout out to Tariq. They'll say anything versus taking accountability. And then one thing that is so funny to me, well, a lot of these Africans, especially some of these guys on YouTube, like you got this dude here who's always talking about how disrespectful Black Americans are to Ghana.
But what we've gotten in return is a lot of disrespect, too often lies, too often people who came to reconnect with their roots end up trying to dominate, divide, and demean Ghanaians.
And you hear what he's saying? Oh, we welcome them. Now, this is a guy who's from Zambia, but he says he grew up in Ghana. We accepted them and we did X, Y, and Z. But watch this.
So I've had to talk about this because if I don't, my community gets affected. My children gets affected. Even though they are born here, they still call them the T word. Okay? So we are just defending ourselves.
This same guy and his kids don't live where? Not in Zambia. They don't live where? In Ghana. They live where? In the United States. You want to know why? Let me tell you, all right? I'm going to be honest. A lot of folks, Dr. Akon, this dude right here, they got a whole big message, about Black Americans going to Africa. Not the last dude so much, but Akon. Invest in Akon, invest in Senegal. Yeah, they get all the money while they still live in Atlanta while you take all the financial risk. You want to know why? Because they can't make it in Africa. Even Akon can make it in Senegal. He could if he really wanted to because he's big enough. But Akon don't want to be in Senegal. It's too dangerous for him to be there. He feel like it wouldn't be right. He needs to be in the United States where the real opportunity is. Ask Dr. Umar. Umar talk about Africa and the black world and pro-blacking it up all the time. Wanna know why Umar ain't gonna stay in Africa? Ain't enough money for Umar to stay in Africa. Cash App don't work for Africa. PayPal in most countries don't work in Africa. He got to be somewhere where he can beg. And that's the God's honest truth. A lot of people in the Pan-African world are frauds, including Akon. And you can see why he's a fraud, because nothing he does in his personal life matches up to what he talks about. Even when it's about having a license that's on point. How do you get your license suspended? As a former superstar, your wife don't want to be with you. You can't take care of your wife. You can't take care of your business. Then your projects is falling apart. Whenever somebody talks to you about the projects, you know, where is this? Where is that? You got an excuse. People invested in the Akon city. And guess what? The Senegalese government took the property away from you because everything you do is a failure. Everything you do is down bad. Now you have the same individual that was making, insulting comments about the Black American community. I remember one time he was saying that Black American artists is too busy on drugs, but African entertainers are better. But at the same time, you got on through the St. Louis car, and then being around Black Americans and basically getting into the culture because you couldn't get nothing where you was from. You only got something from them as you blew up. But then at the same time, we already seeing what the play is. You can't stand on your own without Black Americans. You can't stand on your own without the diaspora. You can't stand on your own without China. You can only grift, and when you have to stand on your own, you can't even keep your damn license up. When you gotta stand on your own, you can't even keep your wife up. You got fake jewelry, extra dusty. You out there in India. The people you was performing in India, they was pulling your pants down. And we already know what that might have meant. I'm not trying to say what it meant, but it was just down bad. And you just out here, your life is struggling in your 50s and all that. Why you having such a hard time, bruh? Like, it just don't make no sense. And this is a lot of dudes in this so-called Pan-African community that be like this. I'm talking about a whole bunch of opinionated guys talking about Black Americans while living in America will not go back to Africa to save their life, because they know when they get back out there, it's gonna be the same situation. They can't get no money with their people for the most part. They can't get no real opportunity with their people. And they know that everybody gonna be begging them for money. Everybody gonna be begging them for cash. Everybody gonna be begging them for everything. And they hate it. It's the God's honest truth. That's exactly what happens on the continent. I'm telling you, they don't want to admit it, but it's nothing but dustiness, being down bad. And again, if you want to get mad at what I'm saying, say I'm lying. I bet you won't say I'm lying. Almost every African that's telling Black Americans to go back to Africa and they live in the States, they're not going back from the States. They left Africa for a reason. It's a reason why Akon left Senegal and came to St. Louis. And it's a reason why he's not going back. It is a reason why he's not going back. Want to know why he can't going back? I'm gonna keep saying it. Can't get no real opportunity out there. And then once you go head on, and he was out here in Uganda, he was talking to Museveni about doing something. And the thing is, once people in Africa, you don't deliver what you say you're gonna deliver. You use up your goodwill because you scammy. Nobody want to deal with you. Your project failed in Senegal. You wanted Museveni to give you some land. In Uganda, he figured out that your ass was lying. Now you can't do nothing. You washed in Africa. You washed here. How you in your home field and you washed? You can't ever have relationships back with Black Americans no more. You didn't wash that because of how you talked about people. You're dusty, down bad, with sandals. You was always a trash artist anyway. You could never sing. Them little auto-tune dusty songs you had was completely 1000% down bad. Trash, completely trash. And I know you mad, but it's not my fault. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy El Shitty Jackson back at it again with an episode of The Celebrity Junk. Put your fire, you just for the bell. We're out.